Hello and welcome to massagetime.co.uk. Today I'd like to share a story on Covid-19, my personal experience and the way that I handled Covid-19. As we're coming in towards the winter period, it's likely that infection rates are going to go up and there's going to be a lot of fear about the Covid-19, catching it and what to do when you catch it. Obviously, it's a very serious virus. It's taken a lot of people, including a few people that I know, have even succumbed to the virus and died and, sadly left family members behind. When I caught it, my sons caught it, their mother caught it, and we all suffered from the Covid-19. My own personal experience is quite strange, quite unusual as well, and I'll explain that now. So I caught COVID, and the initial symptoms was the dry cough. It was a completely non-irritating dry puff of air that just every so often I'd cough through, and it just didn't bother me. It wasn't until the end of the day I realised I'd been coughing almost non-stop. My throat didn't hurt or anything. It was just a light puff of air coming out, and that's when I realised this sounds exactly like the dry cough. So that was on Tuesday the 19th of December. So I then went for a PCR test, and by Thursday the 21st of December or Friday the 23rd, I'd received the results and it was a positive test for Covid-19. The initial symptoms for me were complete and utter lethargy. Just to get up and wash a single plate, or to make a small meal, or to do a little bit of hoovering, just wiped me out. I didn't get breathless, I just felt like there was no energy there. And for the first 3 days, I was going from my bed back to the sofa and back to my bed. Now, after a while, my medical knowledge began to kick in, and I started to question myself and say, look, whether you are healthy, whether you're ill, whether there's nothing wrong with you or not, to just lie down for 24 hours a day, essentially, doing nothing, is not good for your health. Your heart is only there to supply blood towards your organs, and your brain, and the rest of the body receives blood due to movements. As we move our limbs, as we move our legs, we tend to pump blood back to the heart, and this is how we circulate blood through the rest of our body. So therefore, if we don't move, then we're going to put stress on our heart. So I decided on the 4th day of being real symptoms of lethargy, and just could not be bothered to get up or do anything. I said, right, that's it. And I set my watch. Every hour, I'd get up and I'd walk around my flat for 10 minutes. I'd walk over the sofas, I'd walk up and down, I'd walk fast, I'd walk slow for 10 minutes. Now, eventually, through the day, I managed to do this for about 10 times. And if you add up 10 bouts of 10 minutes walking, it equates to around about 5 miles a day. So the following day, yes, my legs were knackered, my stomach muscles were a little bit sore, and I basically burnt myself out from walking 5 miles the day before, when I'd been lying down for practically 4 days. So after that, by the 4th and 5th day, I'd pulled myself out of the lethargy. The lethargy had gone. I was starting to feel better. I was starting to feel stronger. I was starting to feel a little bit more like a normal person. Then, unfortunately for me, the pleurisy kicked in. For me, it was pleurisy. Now, there is a history of lungs issues that I have. Not major issues, but just I've never felt like I could take a deep breath or really push myself during exercise. I always felt like I was getting out of breath too quickly, And there is a history for me that had something to do with my childhood, where I'd had a battery in my mouth, and I don't know. My mum explained it to me, but I don't really know the full ins and outs, and I was never given any diagnosis of any serious medical condition, and so I've grown up and my lungs just were normal as far as I was aware. So that was the only thing in my history, apart from bouts of smoking as well. But the pleurisy kicked in maybe on day 7, and every small breath that I took in, I was coughing like crazy. I'd have a fitting cough for about a minute, and the only way that I could stop myself from coughing was to breathe out, similar like when pregnant women are giving birth and they're told to pant, like during labour. That was the only way I could breathe, because if I took a breath in, I seemed to cough for a long time. Now, the pleurisy aspect went on with me for around about 2 weeks. That was at its worst, and then slowly it began to die down. And after about four weeks after the COVID had cleared, so we're looking at towards the end of January, maybe first 2 weeks of February, the coughing finally dispersed. When I then got back to playing football, I found that I was no longer getting debilitatingly tired. My lungs were, I'd get out of breath like before, but I wasn't folding over. I wasn't struggling to breathe. I wasn't having that effect, almost like I was having a heart attack when I got out of breath. And I did have what may be perceived as a long COVID symptom, which was a pain in the left side of my neck. And I'd had neck pain before COVID, but this seemed to go down and into my chest, and it really seemed to hurt, be a major problem. And now, we're in September now, so October, sorry. So we're talking almost, it's 10 months since I had the COVID-19, and the neck symptoms have now gone, and I'm left feeling better than when I had COVID the first place. When I had COVID, before I had COVID, which is very strange. It's not something that everybody is going to get, and I'm not trying to tell people that COVID is good or whatever, but it did make me think, what is this virus all about? Are there aspects of this virus that we can use for our own strength, our own development? It's a little bit like if you get a rush of adrenaline and your heart rate goes up and the uptake of glucose goes into your cells, and you get this rush of energy. If you don't do something with it, that could be bad for you. When you get that boost of energy, you have to do something. You have to run, you have to use up that energy, you have to do whatever, do something with that increased heart rate. Otherwise it could put your heart under strain to have all this high energy, this beating heart, high level, increasing glucose into your muscle cells. It can be bad. So it is something to do. You've got to do with it and use it up. And to me, the lying down on the sofa when I had COVID, after about 3 days, I just felt this isn't right. And I got up, and like I say, I pulled myself out of it, ended up with pleurisy, possibly a long COVID symptom. But I just kept going. I didn't stop. I pushed myself through. I just kept myself healthy as normal, good diet, taking vitamin C, taking vitamin D, and some multivitamins in general, and just eating a good, healthy, balanced diet, but exercising and pushing myself through. And it turns out that for me, I've actually had a really good result from my experience with COVID. I would say to you, if you get ill with anything, be it a cold, be it flu, be it COVID, take those 2 or 3 days to rest. Your body needs to rest. It needs to be able to repair any other stress or trauma that's around the body. But once you've been resting for those 2 or 3 days, whatever thing you have to move. You have to get up and move. You have to get out into the fresh air, open a window, stick your head out the window, go into your garden, take some deep breaths, get some fresh air, but move. Circulation for the human body is so important, okay? It gets the toxins, it gets all these metabolites from respiration back to the heart, back to the lungs, so you can expel it. It pushes lymph fluid through the lymphatic vessels, which carry all the immune cells as well, and promotes immune activity. And also it just gives you a little boost of happiness. And that boost of happiness has been shown in history to promote immune function. So when we are feeling good, when we do have control of what we are doing, control of our own lives, our immune system has been shown to be boosted. So, first of all, let's just end with saying that, anybody who's had COVID and had a really bad experience with COVID, and lost loved ones, let's remember them people. And we are always sorry to hear when people die from things like this, because we can't see it, we can't control where it goes. We can do our best, we can wear face masks, we can do COVID tests to try and keep hold of it, but we can't stop it going around, and we can't stop the pain that it causes when people do lose their loved ones. But let's not lie down to things like this. Still remember, we are human beings. We have immune systems. We have knowledge. We have intelligence. We have drugs. Let's get up. Let's move. Let's take those few days to rest, and then let's move. Let's use this, and hopefully there are more people out there who've had good results. If you've had a good result, if something has changed for the better in your life after getting COVID, please make a comment. Or if there's somebody that you want to mention that you lost and you just want to remember them, you just want to say, it was this person, was fine and they got COVID and they succumbed to it. Please just let us know. We're all in this together as a human race. I've never seen a virus that can travel around the world in less than 3 months. So this is something which the human race is in together. And the more good stories that we can hear out there, the more valid approaches, the more that we can hear that somebody has taken this and said, okay, under normal circumstances, this is not healthy. So let's do X, Y, Z. Let's try and do something to promote the body's response. Let's build the immune system. Let's get our circulation going, and let's do it in baby steps and see if, as a race, we can find a way to either fight COVID or use it if it is a positive thing. I have heard stories from other people. I haven't actually read the literature myself, but apparently the immune response that occurs to COVID-19 is so powerful that people who've had quite bad medical conditions, I think I heard one was leukemia, found after the COVID had gone, the leukemia had disappeared. And then I have spoken to other people similar to myself that they had aches and pains before COVID, and after COVID, they felt better. So what is it about this virus that is either completely destroying people or giving people a positive response? So, if you do happen to get COVID this year, just like I say, just take those 2-3 days to rest if you have quite bad symptoms. And then remember, movement is essential to health, for circulation and for your general feeling. Okay? So I'm Theo at massagetime.co.uk, wishing you all a wonderful and happy winter period coming up towards Christmas, and let's all get together and get through this. Continue wearing your face masks, doing what you can to protect yourself and your loved ones, and have a wonderful Christmas festive period. Take care.